Students, today we are going to talk about Amanda, who was a 9 years old girl. Her mother used to scold her for each and everything, like don't sit in that position, don't bite your nails, walk properly, that, this, and that. But she never cared about her mother words. So, what is her reaction? How she was reacting for her mother words? How mother was saying good things to do this, you should not do this, you should not do that, in that way everything will be discussed in this poem. Amanda was written by Robin Klein. Before going into this poem, just have a look about our poet. Yes, Amanda was written by Robin Klein, who was born on 1936 in Kempsey, New South Wales, Australia. She was an Australian writer, attended schools in New South Wales, Australia. She began writing in 1981, worked as a tea lady. Before entering into this profession, before working as a writer, she worked as a tea lady at a warehouse and also a bookshop assistant, nurse, copper enamelist, program aid at a school for disadvantaged children. So he started writing in 1981. Before she started writing, she used to work in different places. First she worked as a tea lady, and later she worked as a bookshop assistant and nurse, copper enamelist, program aid at disadvantaged children. And she was also critic in Erba Awards at Bolgona Children's Book Fair, which was happened in 1979. For The Giraffe in Pepperfell Street. So, for the work called The Giraffe in Pepperfell Street, she got the Critic in Erba Award and also Australian Junior Book of the Year Award, Children's Book Council of Australia on 1983 for the work called Ting. For this work, she got Australian Junior Book of the Year Award. Book of the Year Highly Commended Citation CBCA 1984 for Penny Pollard's Diary. For the work called Penny Pollard's Diary, she got Book of the Year Award and she also got Senior Fellowship Grant, Arts Council of Australia Literature Board in the year 1985. CBCA Book of the Year designation, Australian Children's Book of the Year shortlist for People Might Hear You and Saying Things. So for this work, this book recognized as the CBCA Book of the Year and also Australian Children's Book of the Year in the year 1984, and also one more work, that Hating Alison Ashley in 1985. This is a brief sketch of our poetess Robin Klein. Yes, what is the central idea of the poem? The central idea of the poem, as we discussed earlier, revolves around a child, revolves around a girl child. Especially a girl child is constantly nagged by her mother. The poetess sheds light on how a child is always monitored and questioned about her actions by her mother. Therefore, Amanda dreams to get away from her troubles. Yes, as we discussed earlier, this is the central idea of the poem revolves around the uh, girl child who always continuously nagged by her mother, and how her reaction was, whatever the action which was done by that little girl will be questioned by her mother, and what is her reaction, each and everything we discussed in this poem. As we know that our parents also used to scold us when you are as a small child. Now you are grown up, right? But before that, in your childhood, biting nails and with the proper behavior, without proper behavior, your parents used to scold you. Means scolding means not harshly, but child, you should not do this, child, you should be like this, you have to talk to the uncle in this way, you have to talk to our neighbors in this way, you have to respect elders in that way. So everyone, for one particular time, we get irritated. Of course, you get irritated. Why, mommy? Whatever I said, mommy was saying this was right and this was wrong. I am grown up. When you'll think at 9 years old itself, you'll think that you're grown up girl, you're grown up boy, when compared to your small little sister who was 6 years old, who was 7 years old, isn't it, ma? So though 9 and 10 years is not really matured person, but you'll think in that way. Why mommy used to scold me in that way? So you'll think like that. Here also, Amanda facing the same situation. How she overcome the situation? How her mother used to scold us? How she was caring about her mother words? Let's see. Let's get into the poem. Amanda. Every child feels that she and he is controlled and instructed not to do one thing or another. Of course, every child will be instructed by their parents or by elders not to do some particular things, when to do and how to do in that way. You too may feel that your freedom is curtailed. Of course, you may feel that there is no freedom for me. If I want to do anything on my own, restrictions. Whatever I want to do on my own, restrictions. There is no freedom for me. In that way, you'll feel. Write down some of the things you want to do, but your parents, elders do not allow you to do. To read the poem aloud from page, each reading alternate stanzas, you are in for a surprise. Yes, after completing this lesson, you have to write your own things, what you are interested to do, but what your parents are supposed not to do. You have to write. But let us see how uh, Amanda's mother scolded her. How Amanda's reaction was here. Here is your first stanza. Don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. Stop that slouching and sit up straight, Amanda. Yes, this is the first stanza. Here, hunch means to bend the upper body forward. Observe this picture, ma. So, in this way, upper body forward. Hunching means. Slouching means to move lazily. Her mother was saying that, observe this picture, mother was shouting towards her child, don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulder, Amanda. Stop slouching, stop moving lazily and sit up straight, Amanda. Continuously in this stanza, we can observe the instructions which was given by Amanda's mother. So let's see what the reaction of Amanda. Yes, this is the second stanza. So, the bracket which represent first stanza, the mother was scolding here. In the second stanza, it is the reaction. It is the reaction of whose? Reaction of Amanda. Reaction of Amanda. There is a languid emerald sea where the sole inhabitant is me, a mermaid drifting blissfully. When her mother was saying, don't bite your nails, don't launch your back, sit properly, don't move lazily, in this way, while her mother was scolding in that way, while her mother was giving instructions in that way, here in the second stanza, Amanda was imagining there is a languid means relaxed, emerald sea in the sense, it is a emerald stone. Here the poet used the metaphor and he was comparing the sea. Here the sea color was green, whereas emerald stone color was green. So the how the sea was, it was in the color of emerald stone. So that's why she was mentioning that emerald sea where the sole inhabitant is me, a mermaid drifting blissfully. Drifting means moving slowly. So she was thinking that in the languid, I'm in a relaxed position in the emerald sea, and I was the only one person. I was a mermaid. Mermaid means it is half fish and half woman. So I'm mermaid moving slowly and enjoying everything. So in this way, for the first stanza, the reaction of Amanda was this. She was imagining something else. So for this first stanza itself, you can understand she was not at all taking care of her mother words. Let's stanza. Did you finish your homework, Amanda? Did you tidy your room, Amanda? I thought I told you to clean your shoes, Amanda. Yes, again in the second stanza, mother was saying, I said some works. I hope you completed. Whether you completed or not, she asking her child. Did you finish your homework, Amanda? Observe this picture, ma. Amanda, did you finish your homework? Of course, this is the regular question when where we can face in each and every home after going to home from school. After going to home, for sure will everyone will observe this. Have you finished your homework? Have you completed your classwork? These are the questions regularly we expect from our parents. Did you tidy your room, Amanda? Yes, of course. You may for Americans, for kids they'll have some separate rooms, so their room they have to clean on their own. Got it? So here mother was expecting whether Amanda had cleaned her room or not. I thought I told you to clean your shoes. Of course they want to clean their shoes by themselves and they want to wash their clothes by themselves. So her mother was asking that whether she done all the works or not. Especially mom, in every home, in every family, some bonding will be there where boys were attracted to the mother, where girls means daughters were attracted to the father. So in the same manner, mother used to scold daughter, father used to scold son. It is different type of theory. For this also there is a reason in literature. So here mother used to scold and mother used to ask each and everything. Of course mother have the more responsibility towards girl child to make her good and responsible citizen. So in this way, for each and everything, for 10 or 9 years old girl, our Amanda was 9 or 10 years old girl, for each and everything, she used to correct her child. So that's why she was making all the statements. That's why she was scolding her. That's why she was checking Amanda whether she was in a correct path or not. But our Amanda taking care of her words, not at all. She was in a different imagination. She was in a different situation. Yes, what is the reaction for this stanza? Let's. I am an orphan, roaming the street. I pattern soft dust with my hushed, bare feet. The silence is golden, the freedom is sweet. Yes, for this that stanza, previous stanza, the reaction of Amanda, she was thinking that here pattern means to make patterns, and hurst means quiet. Bare means uncovered, without chappals, without wearing any sandals. She was imagining that, yes, I'm often roaming the street. I pattern soft dust with my hushed bare feet. The silence is golden, the freedom is sweet. Here, Amanda was expecting freedom. Amanda want to be free. She was lurking for freedom. If I was really orphaned, no one care about me. I'll roam on the street without any sandals to my feet, with barefoot. I can roam on the streets. It was really a golden silence. The freedom which I get at that situation was really a golden opportunity for me. See, he compares the silence is golden, means no one will scold her, no one will give instructions to her. You should walk in this way, you should walk in that way. No one will instruct her. So that's why she was imagining that she was an orphan. Orphan means, you know the meaning of orphan, without parents, right? So she was thinking that if there is no parents for me, means I was a free bird, no one will give instruction for me, so I was waiting for the freedom. In that way she was feeling. The reaction for the previous stanza. Let us move into the next. Don't eat that chocolate, Amanda. Remember your acne, Amanda. Will you please look at me when I'm speaking to you, Amanda? Yes. Don't eat that chocolate. Even some of the parents, not some of the parents, almost all the parents, they will be very strict. in food habits. Yes, of course. Especially for girls, some of the they will have some interest in beauty care. So parents used to scold if you eat some unhealthy food. Oily food means the pimples will come, so you should avoid oil food in that way. But for the 9-year little girl, her mother was saying not to eat chocolate. This is the age we love chocolate. Yes or no, ma? Yes. So don't eat chocolate, Amanda. Remember your acne. Acne means pimples due to oily skin. If we have a oily skin, our food habits also resembles how our skin looks like. If you are eating fresh fruits and vegetables and some dairy fruits and everything, your skin will be fresh and glowing. If you are eating continuously some oily foods, for sure your skin is going to spoil and acne will be there. Acne means pimples due to oily skin. Don't remember your acne whenever you are eating some oily food. And will you please look at me when I am speaking to you? This is the major thing. Whenever our parents are scolding, where you look, you directly eye contact with your parent? Not at all. You look there, you look here, you look down, you look up, or you neglect. Of course, even when your teachers also scolding you, if you are very perfect means, then ma'am, I didn't done this. In that way, to prove yourself, you look into the teachers of you look into the eyes of the teachers. But whenever your mother or father was scolding, for sure you are escaping. You want to avoid the eye contact with your parent, isn't it, ma'am? Yes. Here also she was not looking at her mother, and she was looking up, she was looking down, she want to skip that situation. So that's why a writer mentioned her mother used to say this also. Will you please look at me when I am speaking to you, Amanda, in that way? What is the reaction for this? Let us see. I am a Rapunzel. I have not a care. Life in a tower is tranquil and rare. I'll certainly never let down my bright hair. Tranquil means here come. You may note it out that who is Rapunzel. Observe this picture. Observe this picture, ma. She is Rapunzel. In a fairy tales, you may very well know about fairy tales. You may be familiar about fairy tales. In fairy tales, Rapunzel is one of the fairy character where she used to live along with her grandmother in the towers, and where she will get all the pleasant and all the calmness with her bright golden hair. This is the hair of Rapunzel. So here now our Amanda was thinking that I am Rapunzel. Rapunzel is alone in a tower with peace and tranquility, with peace and calmness. So I'll never let down my bright hair. I have bright hair, golden hair. I never let down bright hair. In that way, she was imagining herself as Rapunzel. Stop that sulking at once, Amanda. You are always so moody, Amanda. Anyone would think that I nagged at you, Amanda. Sulking means to be upset. Nagged means scolded. Of course. Stop that sulking. Whenever somebody is scolding you, how you used to be? You'll be very happy, you'll be very calm, you'll feel very pleasant. Not at all. You used to be so upset, you used to be calm, you used to be very sad. Why she was scolding in that way? Why my mother always used to scold me in that way? Used to be very sad. But here her mother was saying, that Amanda's mother was saying, stop that sulking at once, Amanda. You are always so moody, Amanda. You are always moody. Moody means changing moods based upon the situation. Sometimes they will be for the situation. Of course, everyone will be based upon the situation constantly. The mood of one person will be changed. So you are so moody always, and anyone would think, if you are like this, anyone will think that I was scolding you. Of course, this was happening. I was scolding you in that way, reminding people they may think. So stop that type of expression, stop that type of attitude, being moody and sulking at once. Stop all this. Otherwise, reminding people may thought that I may nag at you. In that way, she said. This is the poem. Now we are going to discuss some poetic devices in this poem. First one is alliteration. Already in previous poem we discussed some of the poetic devices like alliteration, anaphora, repetition, everything. Once again I'll recall. Alliteration is derived from Latin's latera. It means letters of alphabet. It is a stylistic device in which a number of words having the same first consonant sound. The first consonant sound, observe this. Again, why I'm stressing this point, I'll discuss later. First consonant sound occur close together in a series. First consonant sound we have to consider, whereas the consonant sound but not the first consonant sound, but it may occur in the middle of the word or it may occur in the end of the word, that is called as consonants. Later we will discuss. Yes, this is the examples of alliteration. But a better butter makes a batter better. Ba sound is common here, so ba is alliteration. A big bully beats a baby boy. Here also ba sound repeats, so here also the alliteration of this line ba. Anaphora means the repetition of the first part of the sentence continuously, which shows the importance and emphasis of that particular sentence, that is anaphora. Here what is the repetition anaphora here? Oh Lord is the anaphora, why? Because we can observe in each and every line the first word is the same. And next, repetition. Repetition is a literary device that repeats the same words or phrases a few times to make an idea clearer and more memorable. There are several types of repetition commonly used in both prose and poetry. Don't get confused. Don't get confused. Anaphora means repetition of particular word, maybe at the beginning, only at the beginning of the line, but repetition means repetition in each and every line throughout the poem. In most of the lines we will get the same name. For example, in our poem Amanda is common. Don't bite your nails Amanda. Sit straight Amanda. Amanda is common. This is called repetition. Got it, ma? Next, consonants. Consonants means, as we discussed earlier, alliteration is different from consonants, whereas alliteration is called the first sound of the word. Got it? Majorly the first sound of the word, whereas here it may occur middle of the word. The sound may occur middle of the word. Sometimes the sound may occur end of the word. That is called consonant. And metaphor also. Metaphor also is one of the poetic device that describes an object or action which is not literally true, but will explains an idea or make up a comparison. Make a comparison. In our poem also we have one of the metaphor, and I discussed in previous slides also while we are discussing poem. Let's get into the poem. What are the poetic devices that we have to identify? Yes, in first stanza we have don't. Don't means what? Here what is the poetic device you can observe? Anaphora. What is the poetic device you observe? Anaphora. Got it? And Amanda, Amanda, Amanda. Here this is what poetic device? Which poetic device it was? Repetition. What? Repetition. Let's find the rhyming scheme. Amanda A, Amanda A, striped B, again Amanda A. So for 1, 3, 5, 7 also we have the same rhyming scheme, that is A, A, B, A. Let's cross check the third stanza. In 1, 3, 5 stanzas we have the same rhyming scheme. See, third stanza. See, Amanda, Amanda, shoes, Amanda, A, B, A. Again fifth stanza. Amanda, Amanda, you, Amanda, A, B, A. Amanda, Amanda, like that, you, A, B. Okay, 1, 3, 5 we have same rhyming scheme. And in second stanza there is a languid emerald sea, where the sole inhabitant is me, a mermaid drifting blissfully. So here in this stanza we can observe the metaphor here. we can observe the metaphor. Metaphor is this, means the sea. How the sea looks like emerald. Emerald is a emerald stone here. Emerald stone is green in color. Here the sea also looking a green in color. So the sea was comparing to emerald stone color. This is a metaphor. And here we can observe one more thing here. Assonance. Assonance is the uh, vowel sound. Here, don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. O is the common sound here. O. O is the common sound. So this is assonance, and here this is a mermaid. Mermaid means, already we discussed that, half woman and half fish. So it is allusion. And coming to the third stanza, here also you can observe Amanda, Amanda, repetition was there, Amanda, Amanda, shoes, Amanda, repetition was there, and again anaphora was there, did you. Got it? So again in the second stanza the rhyming scheme was same, A, in the fourth stanza, and in fifth stanza again the repetition, Amanda, Amanda, Amanda. Here you can observe the anaphora, sorry, the alliteration, the same sound, sa, slouching, sit, straight. And you can observe anyway the alliteration. Yes, A, here the rhyming scheme for fifth stanza, A, and in sixth stanza you can observe Rapunzel. Here is one of the allusion, certainly never let count by bright haste, stop that sulking at once, Amanda. Again here also Amanda, Amanda, A. This is about poetic devices in this poem. Summary of the poem. The poem describes a girl named Amanda and her mother who is nagging her for her mistakes. She is first pointed out most probably by her mother for biting her nails and for not sitting in the right posture. In the first stanza, as we discussed, her mother said, "Don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't sulk in that way. Don't sit in the right position, Amanda. Don't be so lazy, Amanda." In that way, the mother also feels that Amanda sits in a very lazy manner. To this, Amanda imagines herself as a mermaid who lives in a calm and relaxing life in the beautiful green sea. Further, she is nagged for not cleaning her room and shoes, and also for not doing her homework. In the third stanza, we come to know that don't um, you done your homework, Amanda? Did you done your homework, Amanda? Did you tidy your room, Amanda? Did you wash your socks, Amanda? Shoes, Amanda? In that way, her mother started nagging for this. How she reacted, how she imagined means, if I was an orphan, no one will care about me. I used to walk with some dust and a barefoot. In that way, she imagines, says that she would have enjoyed her freedom then, making the patterns of her bare feet on the sand, and would live a peaceful life. So for the second stanza, whatever the questions asked by her mother, she was not at all caring about her mother words, and she used to be in a different illusion. So now Amanda thinks of being Rapunzel. And one more thing in the next, Amanda's mother scolded her for not eating too many chocolates, which causes pimples, and she is also scolded for not listening to her mother. And also one more thing, not looking at her mother while she was speaking. So for that, how she imagined, if she was a Rapunzel, one of the character from a fairy tale, for sure she will be in a huge tower and she will not care about anything, and she used to take care of her bright golden hair. Finally, the mother asked her to stop being moody because she doesn't want anyone to blame her for harassing her daughter. So she saying that finally, please don't be moody, or otherwise don't look upset, or otherwise reminding people that I was scolding at you in that way. At this time, the poet has not written any reactions from Amanda's side. This constant nagging has made her so sad that she has even stopped to imagine herself as someone else. She used to do in order to escape from the continuous harassment and dominance of her parents. Of course, continuously, whenever her mother was saying some words, whenever her mother was scolding, she was not in this world. She used to imagine herself to another person as someone else, and she used to be there in that imagination itself. She was not at all caring what her parents were saying, because continuous harassment make her to be and to do imagine a different life. This is the summary of the poem. Let us look into the questions. First question, how old do you think Amanda is? How do you know this? Of course, Amanda is a school-going girl who must be about 9 to 10 years old. How we can expect means, actually, the things for mother scold her for, particularly at that age, typical instructions: don't bite your nails. Being a mature people, you know that you should not bite, isn't it? But the small children, they are not able to know what is good and what is bad, so that's why we can expect the age that she was 9 to 10 years old. Second question, who do you think is speaking to her? Of course, her mother is speaking to her. Why are stanzas 2 and 4 and 6 given in parentheses? Parenthesis means this is the brackets mark. In for every stanza, if the mother stanza is one where mother was scolding Amanda, with the second stanza her imagination, while in third stanza the poetess discussed again her mother was scolding, while in fourth stanza again it was the imagine of the child. So why are stanzas 2, 4, 6 given in parenthesis? Parenthesis means this brackets, of course, observe in your poem. Stanzas 2 and 4 are given in parentheses because they are the thoughts of the child. Whatever the instructions given by her mother in stanza 1, 3, 5, regarding to that stanzas, these are the imaginations and thoughts of the child. So that's why the poet intelligently kept thoughts and scolding of the mother and thoughts of the child in an alternative stanzas. Who is the speaker in stanzas 2, 4, 6? Do you think the speaker is listening to the speaker in stanzas 1, 3, 5 and 7? In stanzas 2, 4, 6, the speaker is child. The child was imagining herself as someone else. No, he was not at all, she was not at all taking care of her mother words. Means with the speaker which was saying in the 1, 3, 5 and 7 stanzas. What could Amanda do if she were a mermaid? If she were a mermaid, she used to be drift slowly in languid emerald sea. She would be soul inhabited of the relaxed green sea and would move slowly on it. Means wherever she imagined, whatever she imagined, her wish was to spend time freely. She want freedom. Is Amanda an orphan? What does she say no? Why does she say no? So, no, Amanda was not orphan. Why? Because her mother was scolding her, so she was not at all orphan. But why she was saying that means she said that she wants to be alone. She wants to roam around the streets and with the bare feet, and she felt that silence is like a gold and freedom is sweet. So that's why he thought that if I was um, orphan. Do you know the story of Rapunzel? Why does she want to be Rapunzel? Rapunzel is one of the character in fairy tale. Rapunzel is to spend in a tall tower alone with her grandmother by having her bright gold hair. So Amanda also thought that I used to be like a Rapunzel. I am a Rapunzel. So I used to be in a tower alone and peacefully. I want to enjoy my peace with a gold and bright hair. What does the girl earn for? What does this poem tell you about Amanda? Of course, the girl yearned for solitude and peace. She used to be spent a lot of time alone, and she used to spend peacefully in all the things dreams of she want to stay alone. If she was a mermaid, alone she want to be in the Emerald Sea. If she was an orphan, alone she want to roam in the streets. If she was a refusal, her wishes to be spent a lot of time with peace and alone. So, the girl have to earn. The girl answer solitude and peacefully. So, would be able to live peacefully. Read the last stanza. Do you think Amanda is sulking and is moody? Of course, she is not sulky and moody because she's completely lost her thoughts. Whenever her mother was saying something, she used to imagine someone as herself, and she used to be in an imagination world. She was not at all listening to her mother. If she listened to her mother, then we can say that yes, she was moody because her mother used to scold, so that's why she was feeling moody in that way. So this is about the poem Amanda. I hope you understood. Thank you.